Casey Boland in here from Hanghold Capital Management, is always talking about your money on Mike McConnell in the morning. Casey, I'm just curious, heard a lot about it. What exactly is a Ponzi scheme?
Well, a Ponzi scheme really is a form of an investment where investors oftentimes are promised really high returns. And sometimes it could be anywhere in double digits to 20, 30, 40%. And it sounds so appealing, so it appears really strong to that fear and greed oftentimes we can have and desires. But oftentimes it'll promise profits that can happen even during both good and bad times. But it's the classic rob Peter to pay Paul, where what happens is as investors are needing money, new investors end up funding that, as well as a lot of those dollars end up being used by the people that are running the scheme, and oftentimes we hear about the damage way down the road. Damage is done, people lose their life savings. It's good to talk now because it's not in the news. Oftentimes the time we're talking about is after the damage is done and we hear the news story.
Yeah, and Bernie Madoff may be the most popular one out there where everybody lost money. Why haven't we seen a Ponzi scheme recently? Are they done?
Well, I'm sure they're cooking out there somewhere, and because they always are, but it's usually when they first come out in the news, oftentimes, and for a period of time, people may not be subject to them, but they happen with real estate, they happen with other investments. You'll see it oftentimes if there's self-custody. Just because somebody custodies something doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it could be a red flag if there's no financial auditing. So you have to do your homework. If you see these high return promises and they're complicated strategies and they appeal to your fear and greed, at some point you have to trust your instinct. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, but the real fear, real concern I see is oftentimes this is through affinity groups that it's sold, where somebody else that you know will talk highly and say, hey, I trust this person, it's worked out great. You need to dig beyond that because that's oftentimes the way these things are sold.